Alright, so let's get right after this. This is a 12 by 16 aquaponic greenhouse. And I wanted to post this so maybe some people get some good ideas off of it. So here we go. This is actually a water storage right here. This is 55 gallons of tap water. In South Louisiana, the tap is incredibly alkaline and runs about 8.4, 8.8 right out the tap. So we're actually buffering that down with pH down and storing it and then adding it in an attempt to get the pH to drop. Here's our swirl filter, which is another 55 gallon food grade container. And that filter right there is a buffer wheel that's actually sitting on top there to buffer out, to filter out all the fine particulate. And below is a swirl filter. If anybody wants to know what a swirl filter is, check out Rob Bob in his channel. He is the man. This right here is a flexible 90, so whenever you guys run into system design problems and things don't line up quite right because you drill these holes here for uniseals and then you think you're right but you're not right, you can make up some of that unevenness with this flexible 90 right here. So here is the main tank. That is an IBC container that is basically been skirted with a wood frame and fence boards added to it to make it look nicer. So yeah, 12 by 16 greenhouse with electrical conduit for the rib cage, and you can see like basically a little fence at the bottom there to kind of get that up. And I did that so that I could use fewer pieces of conduit but get the arc up off the ground and not have to worry about it being too short. So then we come on in. Let's get after this. This is all a flood and drain system. And back here you can see where we keep our fungicides, pesticides, all kind of other sides for keeping things out. And in here, in this container, we keep all of our amenities: iron, magnesium, calcium, potassium. Keep some fish food in there as well. Keeps it kind of neat. And these grow beds are basically made from scrap from job sites. When people build a house, they leave as much parts on the side of the road as are actually in the house, and you just go scavenge those job sites. You can get a lot of good pieces of lumber, and you can build this for yourself relatively cheaply. So getting back to the electrical conduit, that's what these are. These are electrical conduit, and they're flexible and pretty strong. And so that's the rib cage, and then we attach this concrete mesh here to the frame. You see going on up, that's actually 4 pieces in this greenhouse to make that grand total of about $28. No big deal. But you can see that they gives it something really rigid for the plants to grab onto, and we have had pretty good luck with it. So let's start out talking about the plants. These are patio tomatoes here. You can see some of the production of that right there. Got the sweet basil. These yellow jubilees, these little teardrop tomatoes here. These are just little tomatoes, I have to admit, do better in aquaponics than some of the bigger ones, because it seems to me like they just can't, they go mealy too fast and they get too soggy. These are aromas. You kind of see one in the very back there starting to ripen. But yeah, just look at all the flowers just everywhere, just doing really well, really prolific. Nutrient hogs in aquaponics, tomatoes are. It's another sweet basil there. Now, I don't know what this is. It was labeled from the nursery as a black cherry, but I think they got it wrong, because those are arguably not cherry tomatoes there, but you see how just well developed they are. And again, it's a lot of fruit, a lot of flowers. So yeah, so good foliage. The sweet basil there. These are the bell siphons, and I'll talk a second about these. If someone has never seen another aquaponic video, And the way this works is that this is a 1-inch fill pipe in here with a 1-inch to 2-inch reducer, which you can kind of see creates surface area there, and it kind of makes it fill in quicker and makes the air pick up quicker. And then I have a 3-inch bell siphon, and that is how into a 4-inch gravel guard. And there you go. So again, getting back to these bell siphons, it's all about the level of the outflow pipe, but I'll show you that in a second. This is bed number 2, and this has a 1-inch fill pipe on it, and then actually reduced to 3/4 back here. And the theory there being that it makes it easier with the restriction of the water flow, etc., for the pump. So in here we have grow bed 2 have variegated basil, tomatoes, chives, another tomato, and these tomato plants are all clippings from some of the mother plants behind us that we just stuck in the gravel and they took off, and that's one of the beauties of aquaponics. This is the sump here, or one of my sumps, which you can see has a hatch there for easy access. If you're going to build a system, build it so it's as easy to get into as possible. Makes your life a lot easier. Hatches, doors, etc., you know. This is grow bed number 3, and these are all peppers. As you can see, these are doing really well. Peppers here do really well. It's hot enough, you know. Some jalapenos there in the back. Some more coming. You can see them coming. And these are actually Tabasco peppers, which anybody who knows anything about Louisiana knows about Tabasco sauce, one of the hottest ones in the world. And the McKillany family has been doing those peppers and making that sauce for a long time. Props to Louisiana. Here is cucumbers here in bed 4. And as you can see, they are really making pretty plants, but not so much on the fruit. And a lot of that probably has to do with pH. Like I was saying before, the pH here is really high. At least that's what I'm going with anyway. But you can see what typically happens, because I will make some really nice cucumbers. Like this one's coming, that's a pickling cucumber, so it won't get much bigger than that to begin with, but it's a pretty piece of fruit. But then this is what really happens a lot. And they go yellow like this and they'll die off. And probably a couple of people have theories about that, and please post that. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. But here's some chard, and leafies do really well. Green leafies. And as you can see, these chards, we've eaten off of these several times. I mean, all of these are pieces that have been cut off, and they've all been at least that big right there. So just monster chard comes out of the system. This guy right here is getting kind of choked by its big brother. Still some sweet little greens right there. Some more bright lights. Swiss chard. I love this red one back here. You can kind of see how vibrant, how beautiful that plant is. Probably has some deep, dark red roots. Have a rosemary back over here. A sweet basil there, and that is an African blue basil, which is okay, you know, but you know, whatever. Good in pestos and whatnot. So let's go and look at the mechanism here real quick. So this system, I showed you the swirl filter already. But this is actually the main pump right here, and this is nothing more than a Harbor Freight waterfall pump. It's 2,100 something gallons, something like that per hour, which is way too much. And that's what that little diverter right there is. As I said, just diverts water right back into the sump there, which does two things. One, keeps the pressure on the tank from overfilling too quick, keeps the pressure on the fills for the grow beds from being too great, but it also keeps it from draining the sump too fast, which it'll do if you guys aren't careful. And you can see one of these siphons is actually kicking in now. The middle beds where all the chard are. All three of those, you can see that one comes back down. And these are nothing more and 55-gallon barrels cut in half and laid on side. So that's kicking off. And then you can see in here, this is my other sump, which is where the majority of all the action happens, right? So let's do this real quick. You see there's 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, and you can see 2 is draining as we speak. And before I was talking about getting back to this is what I want to tell people, because there's nothing more frustrating than a bell siphon for the amateur aquaponists, as I am as well. I'm not a pro by any stretch, but my experience has been, when it comes to these guys, that the relation of the fill pipe, the drain pipe, stand pipe to the bell siphon, all of that's irrelevant. The only thing that matters is this level right here. This main main drain line right here has to be at the right angle, up and down, you know, canted this way. And if it's not, it's not going to start, or it's not going to stop. And that is a big pain in the butt. These right here, these little dampers, you can see it on the last bed I showed you guys, these little holes in here, irrelevant. You can see that on, and they don't, I mean, I guess they quiet down a little bit. People probably have different ideas about that, but you see here, I've got a T, and that's just, I mean, I'm sorry, a cross, you know, and this, it's just about what I had, you know, and it doesn't matter. These ends could be open, you know, as far as that we're concerned. The only thing that matters is the level of that pipe. So back here, this is the last thing I want to show you guys, which I think was really great kismet moment. That red sock right there is it's a garlic sleeve. So we got a bunch of garlic in there from the grocery, and obviously you ate the garlic and you kept the sleeve, and now you go. You got a little filter there, and what happens is all those mosquito larvae and mosquitoes that grow get sucked up in that water. And you can kind of see, I think, down there now there's a little goldfish is eating off of that sock, and it will definitely eat those carcasses off of those goldfish, off of those mosquitoes, and that's all good stuff. But the freebie oxygen is the one I really want to talk about. As you can see, just a lot of bubbles coming in there and oxygenating the tank and keeping everything in here nice and healthy and clean. Some of this algae in here, I'm with the guys who say that, you know, hey, it's a biosystem, man. It's supposed to have some algae in it. That's the connection between the between two sump tanks right there. And then we come back up and you can see the fish tank. And this is where the tanks actually are fed. The grow beds are fed from this right here, and what we do at night is we turn this off. Right here, we can turn this off, and we can keep turning water over in the main tank without having, you know, water exchange issues. And you see my perch in there doing really well. And there's the slow. And that's all unisealed through and then back down and finishes up. So there we go. Thanks you guys for looking, and comments, post them below. I really appreciate you looking, and have a great day. Hope this inspires somebody.